This is 4. It's nothing.
Maybe I should start my own channel too. I did really well. I grew up at about 1 million subscribers. I got over 1 million followers on TikTok. I had nearly 1 million followers on it. One day when I was around 50. It looks like it's middle of the road. Only thing I said I had to there's something like I'll be over there. Last day, I looked at my slingshot and I drove to the Dollar Tree and there it was. Went in there, I was a candy bar, picked up lots of money. Now I got gave me the money, gave me candy bars. Now the guy had a little bicycle. So I was like, you know what? We'll make space. He put it over his chest. He said he was hungry. So I was like, where do you want to go? So I just felt bad for him. He was like, Taco Bell or something. So I was like, okay, let's go to Taco Bell. He wanted to drop the bike off first. I thought maybe he was homeless, and he kind of was. Sometimes you can live in a crack house. And the memories that come up, that little story, he was just in a very bad spot. He dropped his bike off at that little trap house. He got back in. We went to Taco Bell. He got like a nacho bill grande. I asked him, like, what kind of music do you like listening to? He's like, a little dirt. Okay, played some little dirt for him. He was like throwing up gang signs. But you could tell he was enjoying it. Then he asked me if he could go to his friend's house with that. Like, well, okay. So we went, and it was about like 10, 15 minutes out down this sketchy road, and I was kind of like, whatever, got out. And he was like, talk. Then he finally got back in the slingshot. I was like, okay, you want me to drop you off now? He's like, yeah. We're on the way back, and he looks at me. He's like, do you smoke? But the funny thing is that I was making videos, and I had this candy called Mary Jane. People think and it was around Halloween, about a year ago. So when he asked me that, I was like, no, I don't smoke, but I still put some Mary Jane on me and pulled out some candy. And then he pulled out something with but I dropped him off. We got to talk that day. I really felt bad for him.
Okay.
All the things he was saying. So got this.
Okay.
And he's 3'4". So he tried to
No, I'm actually excited to get good as Brainrots. No.
You nigga. Rolled up his sleeve. He was like, all right, write it down. And then I got the receipt from his nacho grande right in there. Then the
Wait, what's our snap streak again? No.
All right, sure. So I go pick him up and we go eat. And
go chill out, man. Come watch him. I can't eat, man.
Wait.
Up a little bit.
No. Wait, tell Tamika it's admin abuse right now.
Understand what's been going on in his life. And it's honestly really sad. I felt it was like, God.
No, wait, Tamika just missed out. Oh. Oh shit. Where is my Nintendo at? Yeah.
putting me there and testing me. It felt like he was saying, you gotta help me. Need somebody. I'm gonna make that somebody new. I think the second day we went to some Italian restaurant. We were sitting there, Daddy was like thinking, how can I help this guy? How can I get him away from this terrible life he's living? What can I do? So I asked him, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he says, dead, with no smile, no laugh or anything. And I'm looking at him out of guard. I'm like, what? And he's like, hell yeah. Straight face, for real. Telling him, like, don't say that, man. But at that point, I'm just like, alright, I gotta at least try to help him. Well, I need a good way to contact him. So I gotta help me go to the mall, and I get you a new phone. Like, oh my gosh, yes, let's do that. We go over there, get him a new phone. Every day, he's texting me. He's like, yo, he saw me. He's like, yeah, man, I'm just sitting here chilling, hoping. And I'm asking him, like, how is he living there? And then he'd get cut off by someone in the background who was yelling at him. There was like 6, 7. I'm like, promise you guys, I did not mean to say that.
No, it's your phone. Jesus.
They would be fighting, throwing things.
I just
around.
replaced
Hear like glass breaking in the background.
I've already seen it, but still sees this one out here.
Constantly yelling at each other, just sitting there talking to me on the phone. It's like making me really want to help them. That's crazy. Everybody lives a different life. I'm not there. I was in a good spot in life. I mean, he was in the complete opposite life. Miserable. So for the next few days, he would just call me, text me. We'd go out, I'd get him something to eat, give him some money. I slowly began to realize he's myself, need somebody. So that's what I did. Like, you mind being on video? The store, show my phone, kind of what I do. And he would tell me how he used to post videos, and he would get banners. So the number one thing I was like, living in this trap, looking up there every day with the sun, living a dangerous life. Are you saving for a place? You're constantly calling me saying you're home. Have enough money to buy groceries or get something to eat?
Oh my God.
Lucky block. Lucky block. Lucky block. Lucky block.
That's pretty important. So over the next few weeks, I helped him get his social security, food stamps. Now he has money coming in. It's a good first step. And you can already tell he's a lot happier, but he's still living in this trap house. And they're stealing the money. They're taking things from his pocket that he keeps his wallet around. They'll take his card. We had just set up a bank account, and I even deposited $100 in there for him. The card would constantly get stolen, and all his money would be gone. And I was sitting there and I'm frustrated. Not with the code. Mad at it. They'd be constantly fighting with each other. It was a mess. Every other week, probably every week, we'd have to be canceling his cards, ordering him to late night to come. I was buying everything. He couldn't buy anything still. It was constantly being stolen. So I'm thinking, alright, we need to get you this. This was like my mission. I was like, we just gotta get you your own place. Whenever I talked about getting apartment or something, eyes lit up. He was like, that would be so awesome. So I'm like, okay, I'll look around and I'll talk to people. And I tell him, like, it might take a little while, but I'll try to do this for you. Like, yeah. In the meantime, we're still hanging out, making some fun videos. We go to Skyline, and his vision is really bad. Take him to the hospital. The eye checked out, the reservoir went, and we got the prescription. So he was really happy about that. And just finally, he used to have a pair of glasses, but I guess living in that place, things were getting broken constantly and stolen, like most of everything else in that. But I was hoping that maybe this pair will last and he'll back up. And they did for a little bit until they didn't. And I had to replace these glasses like 3 or 4 times. Just like I had to replace his phone, as a lot of you guys know. You guys get on to me about that. You gotta enable him. I'm not trying to enable him. It's just like, I want him to have a phone contact me. Let me know what's going on. But I had to replace his phone, glasses, a bunch of stuff. They were expensive. And I paid for the service every month. And most of the time, every month was just a phone. Every other month was a pair of glasses. But one of the pairs wasn't really on his dog, shoot up the glasses. And that's another thing. He has a dog. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm one of those people that really likes dogs. And I just for like any animal, even the bugs. Like I can't kill a spider. The other day in my room, there was this crazy looking cricket thing, not ChatGPT did, and it was called camel cricket. It's freaky looking. And it literally my bed, my girlfriend was like, get this out of here. I wrestled with that camel cricket under the bed, and it hated me, not knowing I was trying to save his life when my girlfriend sleeped. And I'm saying this just to let you guys know how worried I was for this. I mean, that dog's living in a meth house. That's not cool. And it was skinny looking. I was constantly taking the code to get groceries. You would get extra groceries just for the people living in that house. And every time we got groceries, I would make sure that we were in a meth house. That's not cool. And it was skinny looking. I was constantly taking the code to get groceries. You would get extra groceries just for the
Oh my god, I know it's termination.
Dog food. I would constantly be asking you guys to go to this. We don't have water. Send me pictures, verifying that it's here. I have one big mission, get Nico out of here. I gotta find an apartment or something. Then I have a little side mission, make sure this dog.
Oh my god, those combinations.
I always tell his story on my channel. He's on my channel. And we're building a relationship. Genuine, authentic relationship. But today's
oh my god.
weird. Somehow they've got the electric going on here and there, and it'd be really cold. All the windows and doors are both. Day we hang out. We do some extra help that day, so I get him some money. Then he goes back home. Around that time, I was spending a lot. So I'm sitting at home. Usually, if I'm in, I'll get a call or at least a text from him. I don't hear anything. And
No.
then I fall asleep. The next day, he calls me. We're talking on the phone. Down to like 6. Okay? He's like, yeah, man, the electric went off. My phone died. I couldn't charge my phone. I tried to go to the gas station and charge it, but I had to buy a charger. And I didn't have any money. And I'm thinking, like, well, you gave some money yesterday. Buy a charger and get a charger. And I said that, and he's like, well, I spent that money. And I'm like, what'd you spend it on? And he spent it on a heater that man playing at that little house day one. Still must have been pretty cold, so at least didn't have that heater. And I'm glad Dakota was kind enough to do that. And around then, in the process of like an apartment, he has an appointment for when he's going and flying. Doesn't have it yet. So cold to get the store trap on. It's so cold. Every time I pick him up, I come out the little door, and he just bundled up like 3 jackets, sometimes even a blanket. About that dog. And him too, so like, oh, so I'm like, you know what? Maybe just a break. You can't be in it cold like that, especially with that dog. I'm looking on my phone and there's all that alarm from. And I found him. So I'm going to go to, how about, say, I get you a hotel by yourself with the dog with him. He's like, okay. So then, okay, that. He goes back inside, starts gathering stuff up. He's more frustrated. They're here, and he comes out talking like, I don't know where to go. I'm like, well, come right here, let me talk to you. They're kind of tweaking a little bit, but I convinced him he'll be back. Everything's gonna be okay. So we try to go back in, grab the things, then we head off to the hotel. I get him 2 nights. 2 nights for him and his dog, warm together, wait, all that. Make sure he had a bunch of snacks. Just both days, back to back. I would go visit him, make sure he's doing okay. I would take my brother with me. We did some prank calls. We could just tell, like, he looked. I had him a speaker at one of the little dogs, and he would just learn that one song. He's like, yeah.
Small things that can make the biggest difference for your dog. Like how every little part of a dad's property is packed full of nutrients and plenty of antioxidants that keep them at their best inside and out. And that's expert at nutrition. I never thought I'd meet a personal injury like.
And again, I never thought I'd be injured on the road.
But I knew I had to protect what matters. Search Sign Lawyers to claim what's rightfully yours, or call 131199.
Feel good health. Catch on with Bupa Health Insurance.
Lucky block.
See the problem so clearly.
Lucky block.
People with traditional hearing aids.
Lucky block.
People just play down. They just turn up the volume on everything.
Lucky block.
That
Lucky
meant
block.
so much to him. Just a few nights ago,
Lucky
the
block.
dog in my back, like, head, I'm like, $40. You know what, just do it again. 2 more nights. And I mentioned that, but you want to say 2? It's like, hell yeah. Okay, do it. I extend it. We're calling each other, making sure everything's alright. Loving it. Then I come back, it happens again. I'm just thinking, like, taking this dude away from this hell.
Job, Sahur.
Didn't.
Job, Sahur.
And then on the actual last day, I'm not going to extend it anymore. That's the last day. Back to my car and go inside. I didn't get my deposit back.
Kerupuk pagi-pagi.
Taking things to the phone at the hotel room. I'm like, my head, I'm thinking maybe it's talked to Dakota for a second, and then she walked out, asking Dakota, like, and he looked at me first. And then he does like a little emote. It was kind of funny. I'm just like, oh, okay. He's like, hell yeah. We got all the stuff from his hotel into the car. We're heading back. And he showed me his phone, showed me a text messages with this girl. And that girl is solicit. They're already saying, I love you. They just met that morning. I asked him, how'd you guys hit it off? And he was like, well, I was smoking a cigarette outside. Dog. She starts walking by. She's like, oh, can I pet your dog? And he allows her. She says, you want to be my boyfriend? I guess paused for a second, and then he was like, hell yeah. And then they start hanging out in the hotel room. And literally, she's living there at the hotel. They're on like some plan, her and her parents. And in the car, he's like, she's from Oklahoma. That's how Dakota looked at me. He's asking, yo, Jake, did you take me on my first date? I'm like, yeah, what's up? So I take Dakota to Kroger, I buy some flowers. He can take the flowers to his new girlfriend. We go back to the hotel. He knocks on the door. Mom answers the door. She doesn't know that I'm looking here. And she looks down, sees Dakota, like, hello, can I help you? And he's like, I'm her girlfriend, like boyfriend. Gives the flowers to his mother. She's like, okay, that's cool, nice meeting you. I'll get to it. She wasn't there. So he came back down, explained what happened. I was like, oh, that's okay. You guys will have a date sometime soon. And he's like, I know, I'm texting you later. And a few days later, it's like, alright, so we actually go on the first date now? She wants to meet at the mall. So we get to the mall. This is like the first time I really meet her. So I introduce myself. I want to go to friends. So I try to help him get back on speed. And she's like, I thought city. And I was like, I make videos. Right now, I'm focused on helping Dakota make sure a really cool story. You want to be in it for the first date video? She was thrilled. She was like, yeah. And she said, this will make my ex-boyfriend so jealous. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And then they went to Hot Topic. They really. So we go inside. She goes to this Hello Kitty toy that was $50. She said something like, "Oh man, you wants to buy me this? Don't you find it?" So he's like trying to save money, get it approved to his partner, which means anything that he wants to buy for her, that's really gonna be me buying. And you know what? First day, screw it. So she gets the hoodie, we buy it, and they get some pictures. So I took some pictures of them, and then we go through a few more stores, and every store we went to saying, "Oh, he really wants to buy me this," and pointing at like everything. And one of the stores, it was a necklace, and they were really obsessed with getting this necklace. It was one of those heart necklaces where there's one side, the other side, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. All right, whatever, look at that. Hers broke the next day though. She said her brother broke it. It seemed like they had a good time together for the first day, and she started wanting to hang out with Dakota and I. Did our thing, but we started hanging out, and I could tell she definitely has some problems going on too. That's on a little bit. That's what and that's what it was for a little bit. She'd just be there a lot of the times. I'd buy her food. A lot of the times we would hang out, she'd talk to her ex about it. We would call them. They would call her like each other like right in front of me.
I've been up front. Oh, I think I'm weekend. No, my phone's not going. I didn't reach out to the mall. I didn't know how long it would be. I didn't know how long it would be. I'm fine.
Lucky block.
And yeah, it's just a boy. That's a nice boy. Boy,
Lucky block.
that was a bad idea.
Lucky block.
Area. And he took me by the way and started pulling me towards him. And I told him no, I have boundaries. And I don't know this one. And he literally just told
Lucky block. Lucky block. Las Tralaleritas. Lucky block. Job, sahur. Job, sahur. Espresso, signor.
Job, sahur.
Also, stabbing to machete out and start chopping it. A lot of terrible things that can happen. And the thing. I'm gonna be honest.
My phone's outside. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying you're done. Not everybody thinks that's it's like no place. No place. Put it under the microscope. All this is nothing. Don't put it no place. Your brain is not thinking. Brain, something, you know, your health. Something to do. I don't know.
Oh, Simpson.
Everybody. sometimes it's hard to spot out because people like, that's why I'm saying, this people, if they're
Cocofanto elefanto.
you ever heard of that? Exactly. That's why I think it would be best.
Cocofanto elefanto.
In a place or
30 mil per second?
out and make sure you continue on the rest of the information. Wouldn't you want to do that? Yeah. Well, I think that's what you can do.
I talked something, yeah, her dad, my mom's not, doesn't want to talk to me. I have to go back home right today. I gotta go back home, take care of the animals, and clean up the apartment a little bit.
Hopefully.
He said he's gonna try to come visit me.
Let me visit a little bit, and then you guys go up there. And eventually, both of you guys
So thankfully, I have nobody broken. Nothing got left in the stomach. Yeah, he was stronger than Dakota. I literally had to fight him.
Over 25 years.
Trippi, troppi, troppa trippa.
Get out of here, nigga. Get out of here.
Lucky block. 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 Lucky block.
Lucky. Lucky.
Lucky block.
Lucky block.
Los lucky blocks. Los
Lucky blocks. Lucky block.
Los lucky blocks. Lucky block. Lucky block.
Lucky block.
Lucky block. Los lucky blocks. Los lucky blocks. Los lucky blocks.
Los lucky blocks. Los lucky blocks.
He's looking after us, man. Showing us off to the line. I don't trust the way he's talking. He can take care of it. He did. It is a good responsibility. You know?
Trattoro dinosauro.
Yeah. You think he got better?
It's fucking serious, man. Come on, get off my fucking chair, bro.
Yeah. You think he got better? You know what I think that man is? The man's a really check this out.
Lucky block.
Around here, even the park cars are ready to throw hands. Security cameras ended wannabe thief scheme before it even got off the ground.
Tralalelo tralala. Odin din cintura.
When the whole pirate runs into an AR-15,
Coco Fanto Elefante. Gattatino Gnanino. Gattatino Gnanino.
well, they didn't know that something might have pissed off about this kind of.
Tralalelo tralala.
He left with a pounding headache and a one-way ticket to. They tried not to. Some homeowners are their deal. Not trouble. Busted nuclear thing started off like a terrified squirrel.
Lucky block. Lucky block. Los lucky blocks. Los lucky blocks. Lucky block. Lucky block.
This one's like
Lucky
front
block.
door.
Lucky block.
Lucky block. Lucky block.
Nothing for him. He's dumb enough to fall for a face.
Los lucky blocks. Los lucky blocks. Lucky block.
Seriously.
Lucky block. Lucky block.
Lucky.
1 second he's trying to, the next he's putting on an accidental strip show.
Lucky block.
I can only picture him then. Feeling helpless in a posture show. Stop a burglar from in 5 seconds or less.
Oh my god.
Bicicleteira, bicicleteira.
Now that's the you have the horse taking down the road. Somebody better record that. It's so loud and so good. This right here is the ultimate burglar design. The thing on top was a hard item. The one save you in a dangerous situation. Nobody wants to mess unless it looks like they've got serious
Aquanaut.
Treno struzzo turbo 3000.
La vacca Saturno.
La vacca Saturno Saturnita. Aquanaut.
La vacca Saturno Saturnita.
Lucky Block.
The funny thing about Yankee was camp,
Treno struzzo
but the
turbo
only thing that
3000.
kind of like that day was his ego.
Treno struzzo turbo 3000.
And he was scrambled onto the seat, thinking he could outwit, but he found that it was just a situation.
La vacca Saturno Saturnita.
He realized had completely unraveled. The most bumbling robber can't even get the TV off the wall, completely flopped, and then tripped spectacularly while trying to escape with an accomplice. Two geniuses tried to steal a bike and ended up unlocking the
Lucky
bonus
block.
level. The whole city on their tail.
Lucky block.
Who knew free hardware in the girl back?
Lucky block. Lucky block. Lucky block.
Lucky Block. Lucky Block.
The boy fire thought she could share the thing on play, but this time, reality had had it.
Lucky block. Lucky block. Lucky block. Lucky block. Lucky block.
Lucky block.
Lucky block. Lucky block.
Lucky block.
We could have saved $30 million. That's when we had a bit.
Lucky blocks. Lucky blocks. Lucky block. Los lucky blocks. Lucky block.
The practices branded each other.
Lucky block.
Tries to steal it, but gets stopped in the most epic way. That's one way to keep it up the street. The owner ended up thanking him for getting rid of a broken TV. Definitely a cover notice. When a man comes barreling down the grocery fosters, you seriously. The unlucky toolbox piece, one that left them, or part of it. This is what you get from other superheroes. Electric represents with a wild twist when the thief like an active part of security system through its headlights. Authorized device. Double to the owner. So double phone.
Lucky block. Lucky block.
Lucky block.
Lucky block.
Three men having some carrying guns attempted to break into homes in Chicago's urban park neighborhood, but their plan was quickly stopped in its tracks. Broke into the wrong house. Somehow ended up scrubbing a stranger's car. House instinct karma. What started as a perfect way to quickly put them into a brutal little assault from someone in security. They planned to make a quick getaway on the red motorcycle, but instead, they got caught in everything and so preserved the aggressive red food.
Zammini Spiderini.
Those plans quickly backfired when confronted with way heavy attacks.
Zammini Spider.
Oh no.
They thought they had it.
Car, Kur.
They forced it to them. What did it? Know that?
Kur.
Car, Kur.
La vacca Saturno, Saturnita. La vacca Saturno, Saturnita.
The trip and fell hard. Hitting her skate off instantly. They marveled in seconds.
Lucky block.
Lucky block.
Some homeowners don't mess with us.
To make a mess, but it's just as easy to clean it up with Easy Off Fan. Our oven and barbecue cleaner removes baked on grease in 5 minutes. Man, the dirt is gone.
For the next 7 days, I'm attempting to finish diet the world's heaviest people. Starting with very often featuring staggering 26,000 calories per day. I'm hungry now, but by the end of this week, I have a feeling.
Do what?
Rule number
Do what?
1, I have to finish each person's diet before I can move on. Rule number 2, I can't control whose diet I'm eating. If you're wondering who is controlling it, find out first. Rule number 3, I have to gain a minimum of 33 pounds of food. Yep, I'm going all in. My stomach is about to. Kicking off with the first part of Barry's breakfast, an egg and a full loaf of toast. Obviously, it was tasting great, but what I didn't know was that this delicious carbonated drink was going to be the bane of my existence. Because Barry drank 12 liters of Coke per day. If the food itself wasn't a tough enough challenge already, this was going to be the ice cake. Or should I say... After finishing off half the platter, I'd already made my second two. But this was only the beginning. Call me Pablo Picasso, Moody. After finishing off the last of the bacon and the sausage, I took down the rest of the hash browns and the bread. Oh, and the last of the Coke. Well, for this meal at least. That was very awesome breakfast, so it's only going to get crazier. Since Barry was Britain's heaviest man, I had to run over to the local pub to get the next meal for the challenge. I started off with the fries, chips as they're called in the UK, along with my next 2 liter of Coke. So far, the meal was off. But I decided it would bring a little bit more flavor to the party. Some sausages, but I'm going to find out. So far, things were going great. Oh my. I got back to work and started on the next
Lucky
one.
block.
I dedicate this meal to all my breakfast subscribers. And only a few minutes later,
Lucky
meal was
block.
complete. This is just number two. The police, I am kind of comes out right now.
Lucky
So
block.
probably not the other things that I was failed, you know what I mean? I have a second two here that I was supposed to finish, so I'm gonna have to figure out which two is that.
Los lucky blocks.
Lucky block.
For the next
Los
few
lucky
minutes, I felt
blocks.
this felt like I was playing some record for fastest time to destroy
Lucky
it.
block. Los lucky block. Lucky block.
And then
Lucky
those
block.
things turned in a different way. Oh man.
Lucky block.
After recovering from my sugar crash, it was time for the final part of Barry's diet. For this, I headed over to the Spire Indian spot for the next meal. Well, everyone's almost done. You know what that means?
Los lucky block.
As I got the 2 liters of
Lucky
the pie for the day, there was a thought on my mind. Even though I was ridiculously full of this curry was so delicious, that my fullness almost didn't even matter. I got the but regardless of how good the food is, flavor the cake was always sounded better than eventually. Which I was reminded of all nights later. With only 4 plates left, it was time to strategize. So I started making myself a little curry burrito. There's probably a formal name for this, but all I knew was basically as I finished this plate, I was having more curry than human. But with the finish line in sight, the last thing I could stop that. I gotta say, as I stuffed the last curry burrito in my mouth, I finally made it to the end. Part of that today was second. Little did I know the coach was going to be nothing compared to what I was going to face.
Lucky block. Lucky block.
After finishing diet number 1, it was
Lucky block.
obviously very fast, but the next one on the list is just going to move it. This is going to be impossible. And it all started with this spider. Let me explain. A few weeks ago, I got this text from my old friend. Ricky and I were best friends with him. It had been a few years since we last spoke. Ricky ended up coming over days later. Things seemed pretty normal until he didn't actually eat the world's healthiest man's diet. Right? A few years ago, I ate what I thought was the world's healthiest diet. But what Ricky was about to put in front of me,
Oh, din dun.
was going to prove that he's fake. Ricky's always been the kind of friend that's kept me on my toes with everything I do. Like, if I said I find, he'd tell me I did. So, of course, he tells me he found 5 more people with even crazier diets than the world's healthiest. Yeah, it's all you for the week. That's the way it's done. Hey, come on, man. You the one? Come on, bro. Not the other one. What do you think? As soon as you said that, I instantly realized, right, fine. I will do it. And I know I'm going to do it, too. If I can, I'll take world's biggest man out of my eyes. But I was about to find out that finishing the challenge was going to be far from easy. Mainly because he told me I couldn't look at the binder until I started the challenge. And that I had to finish each diet in the exact
No! I just got a fucking well secret.
Yeah, that's when Ricky decided to throw in a little side mission for the challenge. I was going to try and gain the most weight I've ever seen before. Ricky then told me that he had gotten a job in Central, and he wanted to see me just before he. So right then and there, I knew what he was doing. This sounds pretty good to do. But hey, what's the worst of it? Next up on the list was the diet of Paul Mason. At its peak weight, Paul weighed in at 980 pounds and had one of the most absurd diets ever recorded. Which, judging by the first minute, I was going to test me unlike any I've ever done this. Safe to say after this, honestly, everyone might have a serious chip on my shoulder. After today, I think I might have a serious chip on my shoulder. Well, my song better get people out coming on them. I had no idea how I was going to be able to survive 100 bad chips. But what I did know was a pretty bad start over. Yeah, my lips are already numb. And some trash spilling on the floor was about to be the least of my problems. Yeah, I'll tell my mouth is. As you can probably tell by now, I was clearly in a state of chip bliss. There was 4 different flavors across the 100 bags of chips. My strategy was to conquer 25 at a time. But I was starting to realize the plan wasn't working out very well. All right, let me get a bag count here because I've lost count like 300 bags ago. 24, 25. With the salt and vinegar flavor down, it was time to move on to the next one. I knew there was no way all 100 bags in one sitting, but if I could make it through 20, then I knew I'd have a solid chance of surviving this crazy diet plan. Until I got this text from Ricky. The next part of Paul's diet was but in order to set my success, I went through what scientists refer to as the crunch dimension. I knew I had to finish off the rest of these barbecue chips, which fortunately I was able to, but unfortunately, getting through this day wasn't that easy. I don't even have a word to describe how I'm not feeling right now. With the barbecue chips down, I headed to Walmart to grab the next thing I needed to eat, plus a little something extra. So now I'm so excited right now. I was feeling like after so much needed roof, I was clearly ready to sit. I could feel each chip spreading the roof of my mouth. Had I not gotten that sweet treat, I don't think I'd have a roof left. That's so big, it feels like a car crash. There's nothing glass everywhere. After 10 more delightful minutes, I found myself at the last bag of sour cream in it. My blood type is now sour cream. If I could finish off the last 25 bags of chips, I'd be through with the first half of Paul's diet. As for the second half, alright, well, the one I have the rest of the bags right there, that was either going to save me or shatter me. And the reason why I haven't gotten into Paul's next item is because it would have gone terrible with this. It would have gone better with the second half of Paul's diet was fully chocolate bars. With how I felt at this point, I knew this was going to be the fastest ever to finish Paul Mason's daily diet. I feel like I just burned way too many calories on having this. But after all the salt put in my body over the last day, these two bars were everything. The chocolate was pretty good. I give it an 8 out of 10. But even though they were, I knew I had to get to the chips eventually. We'll meet again. Oh man. At this point, the roof of my mouth and the corners shambles, and I was running out of oxygen. So I thought I'd try some ice cold water. Did absolutely nothing. And when I realized I was only one chip at a time, I started to think about throwing a towel. I didn't really know what to do. But the last thing I wanted to be leftover chips tomorrow. And I also had a sneaking suspicion that these diets were only going to get harder, which meant I was going to need all the stuff in space possible. So I knew I needed to take all these chips down tonight. So a few minutes later, I got the idea to try a new approach. I've decided to call it chip balls. Well, actually, they're just such chips in my fist, but it made it so I could eat them much faster. And to my complete and utter surprise, when they told me it was working incredibly well. I just wish I would have done it 9 bags ago. Nothing against those potato chips or anything, but after this, I'm probably never going to eat it. I was able to make it to the last 2 bags of chips. It came at a pretty big cost. I can't believe I made it here. I have 2 bags left. Just a leftover. Oh. With 2 bags of chips and 20 chocolate bars left, I was almost at the finish line. Okay, it's got only some. Good thing I'll get my healthy fats in. I shoved back the rest of the chocolate bars like I was trying to set another world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what rock bottom tastes like. Lightly salted and terrible life choices. I got a little bit of debris. Oh. A little more bad. Only my stomach was ready to produce them. I had made it through Paul's mountain of chips and chocolate bars, but the next diet wasn't just about calories. There was a deadline. Failing it came with consequences. The next person on the list was Samantha Mason, who appeared on season 9 of the show, My 600-Pound Life. Samantha weighed in at 950 pounds at her peak weight, which required a lot of calories. But calories weren't the only thing I've been worried about, because little did I know, Ricky was about to take the difficulty of this challenge to a whole new level. Yo. Ricky went on to say that he found a thread on Reddit that analyzed Samantha's 140-pound weight gain while she stayed in the hospital, which came out to be roughly 21,333 calories per day. He gave this information to ChatGPT and asked it to analyze all the meals while on the show in order to get the most accurate diet possible, which by itself was going to be incredibly difficult to finish. But what he did next was going to make this challenge a whole bit. When Ricky's text came in a few minutes later, I wasn't all that worried. And then he texted, "This challenge has just got taken up 8 notches. I have to finish everything on this today before midnight, or telling me he's going to add another person's name to the binder. Well, you know what, Ricky? If you're watching this, I know you are. I am going to finish this real quick. Something I didn't have to do. The first stop was McDonald's. Second stop, Jack in the Box. I hate you, Ricky. The first order of business, massive pile of fast food, 6 jumbo breakfast burritos.
Corn,
Since I
sahur.
hadn't drank enough of this for a large Coke.
Corn,
The first box
corn,
of breakfast
sahur.
burritos was definitely really good. Maybe today wouldn't be so bad after all. So it was not the potato chip. Burrito number 2 went down easy, but the next one called for a little, so I added some salt. I was probably playing fire by doing that, but hey, I like to live dangerously. Dr. Dragon Ball. I think I just got a piece of swallow in my mouth. Maybe it was the sugar or the caffeine. Well, actually, probably both. But I was feeling good. That's really good. Wow, why is that so? Back in business, baby. Whoa! Obviously, coming in at full force. But with time ticking away, I knew I was going to hit. So I decided to throw something else in that would give me. I'm going to issue a little challenge within the challenge. If I'm able to finish everything on this diet plan by midnight tonight, you got to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. But if I can't, then you can unsubscribe. You know that would make me very sad. With the stakes high and the challenge set, I moved on to the crisp that had some sort of weird sauce, but I was able to finish off the box. Unfortunately, the crispiness brought back some pretty bad flashbacks. So those are a little too quick. Even though the roof of my mouth wasn't too happy, I continued on anyway. And I'm glad I did. Take a moment of silence for the cookie, because the sweetness of this cookie was everything. And after housing all those cookies, the cookie was down. I don't know what I'm going to do. Realistically, I probably should be going to some sort of therapy. I thought eating 100 bags of chips would be the most physically and emotionally damaging thing I'd ever subject myself to. Until I saw Ricky's now. As someone that's eaten a lot of time, there's not a lot of... Unless it's this. Yeah, when I got carrot cake on my second birthday, I wasn't too jazzed about it. But I'm assuming that when Ricky saw that Samantha ate one of these on the show, he thought it would be the perfect opportunity to try to sabotage me. But my goal was to stay the world hungriest. I was not going to let him win. So after getting my groceries, I off to Starbucks for the next item. But after I got it, I caught the carrot cake taunting me in the passenger seat, forcing me to fight back intense feelings. This was not going to be easy. I have nothing to say. Okay, it was not as good as the frappe earlier. But that is tasty. After a bit of the frappe, it was time for some Ben & Jerry's. First actual item. The first bite of this flavor was a good one. Mainly because it was 90% caramel and like 10% ice cream. Oh, caramel! Probably should have asked them for a napkin. Finally, it was time to move on to items. Should probably get started on these chocolate bars right here. Cookies and cream bars are classics, but in my opinion, nothing beats the Reese's chocolate bar. Oh. Unfortunately, the only thing left at this point was my mortal enemy. Oh, this was going to be fun. If I could barely stand to smell this carrot cake, I had no idea how I was going to be able to eat it. I figured maybe if I just start with the frosting, the whole thing would be a lot easier to stomach. But when I took the first actual bite of cake, I realized I was wrong. So very wrong. It was as if pure sadness were turned into an edible flavor, and that's what I had. Carrot cake is just vegetable bread pretending to be dessert, and no one can convince me otherwise. I continued eating the icing to get as much of this down as I could, but with each bite of carrot cake, the task seemed more and more impossible. How can anybody eat this? Like, willingly? Everyone I there. This is a travesty. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. Fortunately, Ricky texted me again with the next. So I went shopping to distract myself. But even as I looked at these tasty donuts, I just couldn't shake the carrot taste in my mouth. The way I saw it, there was could have been anything else besides carrot cake. Anything else. I'll go back here. Can I get one caramel frappe, please? Yeah. Anything else today? That's going to be it. I can go forward. Thank you. Alright, now I know what you're all doing. Eric, this is no point for me to get out of wonder. Change the consistency or whatever. So that it makes it drinkable. I got a lot of comments from the last video where I turned sand at 25 times under there into a liquid bowl, whatever that was. And a lot of people said it was cheating. So I'm not going to do that. But you can take it. I have to do something. Because there's no way to keep it. This is the moment I got a crazy idea. Soul food work. I was hoping that if I carrot cake, then maybe it would become like a popsicle, and I wouldn't taste it as much when I tried to eat it later. Now I just gotta eat the other stuff. With midnight fast approaching, I moved on to the donuts. It just tastes like sugar at this point. As I was starting to get fuller and fuller, Hot Pocket time, I knew I had to keep eating. As I ate my untucked Hot Pockets, I continued to spiral downward. Oh man, bring back flashbacks. The crunchiness was hard, and it only continued to get worse. But since it wasn't 100 bags of chips, if I did enough chip in this challenge, I was able to finish them off and move on to the next item, which fortunately was soft. I saved the best for last. Probably thinking of those parents, what are you talking about? Why would that be the best? Because these nuggets, well, at this point, I was outrageous full, but all that remained for these nuggets was one last item, which if I couldn't finish, then another person's diet would get added to the finder. The only thing I is that Travis deals with carrot cake, and I have no idea if my phone will be the list. Well, once this frozen, it's gonna get. Thinking it was gonna be like a popsicle, alright? Each bite of this carrot cake was insufferable. Oh. Gotta say, everybody, people have things that they don't like, and they have, but this is not one of the things I really like. It's only one way it's going down. I held out for as long as I knew this wasn't going to go down without a little bit of help. I got some good old peanut butter taste, and guess what? It still tasted awful, but it was helping just enough to make progress. With only a few minutes left in the day, I had one last thing to say. I never ever want to feel that experience ever again. Alright, so here's the deal. I ordered a shirt just in case I was able to finish everything on the diet for the day. Just got the wrong size. After conquering Samantha's diet, I was over halfway done with the challenge. Fortunately for me, though, my stomach was insecure. A dash. What is a dash of vanilla? Thanks.
Is time running out for our opportunity?
You know what's smart? Extra Scholar that lets you choose how you use your limit on physio, chiro, osteo, and general. Smart, like Smart Care Extras from TMHBA.
They shoved the winter dinner in me.
Experiment pretty well. Day 4, officially halfway through the challenge. I'm ashamed to admit that I had nightmares last night about carrot cake. Imagine being
Los combinaciones.
With how horrible taste brings, I was pretty afraid to open the binder. And with all the calories, sugar, and fat I had just put into my body, I felt like I was starting to go crazy. Alright, everybody, it's time for a challenge consultation with the fridge. Fridge, being completely honest, what do you think of my current mental state?
Chicleteira, bicicleteira.
Yikes. Even though my goal was to challenge, I was massively late. So I called and sit back. I did a little bit of reading to revitalize my mind and shift my focus away from all the food I'd just eaten. After that, I had a nice walk with Dog Apollo, and then it was time to check and see what my progress was on my side mission this week. But what I was about to discover was the unexpected. As I was about to weigh in, order caught my eye. At first, I didn't think much of it when
Job,
but him choosing to this specific photo of us had a much deeper meaning than I originally thought. You may not know this about me, but I've had my fair share of weight struggles throughout my life. A few weeks after this photo was taken, I found myself at the doctor's office for what I thought would be a routine checkup, but what actually happened would dramatically change the rest of my teenage years. I stepped on the scale and saw 215 pounds staring back at me. And at first, it was just a number, but when my doctor told me that my weight was in this category for kids my age, it hit me harder than any insult any bully had. For my entire life up until that point, I just wanted to be seen as someone other than the overweight. So with that 215-pound number etched in my mind, I walked out of that doctor's office that day with a mission to lose as much weight as possible. And roughly 11 months later, I lost about 9 pounds. But even after the weight loss, that number never reduced. It became more than a number. Like, subconsciously, I would think if I ever felt back at that number, I would be that overweight kid again. But now, in this very moment, as I saw myself back towards that number, I was starting to wonder, what if after all this time, it was the number after all? But this moment of reflection didn't last very long, because not only was the next diet the biggest so far, failing it meant losing. I'm particular things. So it's time to get back to the challenge. I didn't know it yet, but after this one was going to next 24 hours of my own. With 2 more names potentially getting added to the binder if I couldn't finish the next meal plan, Rick pushing me to find them. Especially because the next person up on the list is Kenneth Brumley. Kenneth was featured in the documentary Half Ton Death. At his peak weight, Kenneth weighed in at an estimated 1,035 pounds. Ricky's challenge was quite the surprise, but he was about to hit me. Wasn't really that prepared for it. With a little over 12 hours and a semi-recovery, I knew I had to finish this diet, because I knew if Ricky added 2 more names to the binder, I'd definitely be failing. Thank goodness it's going on. I gotta get my fruit in. At this point, the taste wasn't as big of a concern, so I combined my favorites together to make a mega breakfast sandwich. But as soon as I got to the legendary McDonald's hash brown, I knew exactly what I dedicate this next part to all the OGs on the channel, because there's an item I used to make all the time in my videos, and all I gotta say is that it's try it, your taste buds will fall away. Step 1, get your pancakes and hash brown like so. Step 2, add a little bit of bacon, just like so, that's the example. And then step 3, get the McMuffin grill and get the extra carbs.
Nietetera, bicicletera.
Hash brown and bacon just like so. And the final step in the process, everybody, is to garnish the creation just like so, my friends. And then you have your steak. I like to call it. Who else thinks I should be designing McDonald's menu items? McDonald's, if you're watching this video, I'm always available. Alright, always available. Maybe not. I finished off the rest of the which was 2 massive cinnamon rolls and a little bit of syrup. Meal 1 was pretty easy, but since Ricky was the one sending me, I had no idea what to expect for the rest of the day. That was pretty spectacular.
Okay, so Ricky just texted me meal 2 and meal 3. Meal 3 can be the best. It's the best food place I really. So I'm gonna go there.
At the store, I grabbed the next few items I needed, including something I really did not.
Good sweet. It's the same officially effective that. This is going to be going in my, what usually is my protein shaker cup.
Lucky block.
Hilarious. Slightly ironic.
As usual, I started on the side of the eat. And in this case, it was a burrito. I'll quickly pay the price.
Graipus
You
medusi.
guys gotta comment down below. Are you team nacho cheese or are you team Cool Ranch? I powered through the rest of the chips using my shaker cup as I went. This Coke was the last thing I needed. And even though the roof of my mouth was back to being in shambles, the Doritos was done. Next thing was onto the Snickers part, which I made quick work of. If this all wasn't enough sugar, what I had next was going to be the icing on the cake.
That is a pure exemplification of American junk food. I don't even know if exemplification is in here, but I just had to say it.
As I worked my way through Pop-Tarts, the extreme amount of caffeine and sugar was starting to do crazy things in my body. As I shoved the second Pop-Tart back into my mouth and sipped the remaining Coke, what happened next, I still can't believe it. Oh my goodness, I don't know what about that was incredible, but your boy is officially locked in. I'm introducing a new to the videos, everyone, when I get officially dialed in. My pancreas has been, my organs, my stomach, everything inside of my body is please, for the love of God, stop eating. That is when I get locked in.
Side note, I really have always wanted to get a Burger King crown. I was really excited for it.
The first bite of Burger King was so with this much in front of me, and adjustments to my setup I got going on here because it's not working. I had a feeling things were fast. After applying an unnecessary amount of ranch to this burger, I finished it. My sauce of choice was carrot fruit sauce. It was good, but things which did work. And when that happens, it's never.
What was I do?
like this where the cheek is hitting, and then go bam, and then boom, and then back to bam.
Sweet and sour and ranch, obviously a go-to combo. After spending the next few, finally time for the fries.
Exercise. I thought you meant exercise. So I made it up for this one. I just want you all to drop a French fry emoji down below.
At this point, I was starting to get very full, but there were two iconic items still left.
Fries are down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a work of art. Legendary Hershey's pie from Burger King.
The Burger King meal was finished, and that much food in me, the thing I could think of doing next was
Time to go grocery shopping.
you'd think Walmart would be concerned about the amount of time it is this week. Yet here I was again, and I was being stopped.
I don't think I've ever had a deep fit before. Wish I should at this point.
Right about now is when I started feeling all those calories that I missed. Even these smaller items will be incredibly hard to finish.
I literally feel like this guy right here. Like, this is me right now.
I finished off the M&Ms, but the next item for sure wasn't going to be good for my digestive system.
M&Ms are down. This last item, I did not make things very good right now. But you know what? I like to live dangerously, everybody. I have a cake right here.
I gotta say, I was pretty surprised when I took my first bite of this cheesecake.
They're not bad for a Walmart cheesecake.
But things quickly took a turn for the worse. Each bite of cheesecake felt like a literal going into my stomach. But with midnight fast approaching,
Kaden?
Girafa celestre.
Okay.